One of the very important features of the Films and Publications Amendment Act is what we're calling the revenge pornography provision. And this is a provision that specifically criminalizes the distribution of revenge pornography. What the Act says is that any person who distributes a private and sexual photograph or video of somebody else without the consent of the person contained in the photograph or video and with the intention to cause that person harm is liable for a criminal offense. If the person in the film or video is not identifiable, the fine is 150,000 Rand or 2 years in prison. And if the person is identifiable, in other words, I can tell that it's you in that video, the fine is 300,000 Rand or 4 years in prison. So the Act is recognizing the very, very serious harm that the distribution of private sexual material can bring about to the person contained in that material. When we talk about revenge pornography is a very well-known example that we all saw all over the newspapers last year with Malusi Gigaba and his private sexual video that was distributed very widely. Allegedly, he was hacked. If he was wanting to use the Films and Publications Amendment Act to seek recourse, but he didn't know who was responsible for initially publishing that video, there is a provision in the Act that says in cases of revenge pornography, the Films and Publication Board can order the internet service provider to furnish the details of the person who actually published the content. So this is also a very interesting part of the Act because a lot of cases, certainly a lot of cases of revenge pornography that we see in our office here at the Digital Law Company come about where we don't know who is responsible for publishing the content. People seem to think you can get away with a lot of things, and often people do, but this is an interesting provision because it seems to recognize that anonymity online is very problematic and seems to provide some recourse for instances where you do not know who is actually responsible for publishing the intimate content. A lot of legal critics have criticized the bill very heavily because, well, it's now an act, because there are a lot of ambiguities in the way it's drafted. Unfortunately, in our experience, when it comes to a lot of digital communications, our police are simply not well enough equipped to deal with a lot of the cases that come their way. We might be in for some difficult times ahead, but that's to be determined.